cambiar vidas,
change lives,
change organizations,
change
दुनिया में
organizations,
बदलाव.
Change the world.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about Rocketship Education. We are a K-5 blended learning set of elementary charter schools currently in San Jose and beginning to expand to other places. I'm going to start my piece just with a couple kids that have come to Rocketship and why our program works well for kids kind of on different ends of the spectrum. This is Maya and Santiago. Maya is that little girl you've got in your class that when you ask each kid what they want to do in life, most of them say, I don't know, I want to be an athlete or, you know, whatever they're thinking of at the moment. And Maya can tell you in, you know, chapter and verse exactly what she wants to be in life. She wants to be a doctor. This is how she wants to do it. Here's where she wants to go to college, etc. And she's, you know, in a very low income immigrant Mexican family, but still knows exactly what she wants. So she was the top end of our curve when she came to us 4 or 5 years ago. And one of the things we think a lot about at Rocketship is what do you do for these children that are in the lowest income, the most difficult communities, but have unbelievably high potential and know where they're going. And for Maya, in our program, as I'll explain later, because we're individualized, because she was able to get exactly what she needed, she really skyrocketed. So when you look at her math results, her writing, her reading results, they're well above elementary level, kind of 8th, 9th grade. And that's because she can get that kind of individual attention that you need to really grow and flourish if you're a Maya. On the right is Santiago, or yes, on your right is Santiago. And Santiago was kind of the opposite, a kid that came to us with a 3-inch high cumulative folder in 3rd grade with comments from teachers like, you know, Santiago is a terrible behavior problem. We need to figure out a way to get him out of the classroom, and 10 other things like that. One of the other things that we really focus on at Rocketship is getting families involved in creating a very structured environment so that children can learn. And for students like Santiago, just kind of the culture of Rocketship really helps them to engage in a way they weren't able to engage. And in the individualized learning portion of what we do, they're able to get subject matter focus and lessons at whatever level they're at. Santiago came to us in 3rd grade. He was operating at a kindergarten level. It turned out that his problem in life was that he was much too smart for the environment that he was in, and within a year he was advanced in both ELA and math, and then after a couple years was one of our brightest kids. And I kind of talk about these two different students because, you know, really when we all think about low-income communities, we kind of just think of this mass of kids with very hard lives, but in fact every kid is different and every kid is special, and if you don't have a program that figures out how to tap into that and help them maximize their potential, then you're really not doing a service. And that's kind of the point of Rocketship, is to help the Mayas and Santiagos wherever they start. So we're grades K through 5, 600 students in a school. We have 3,700 students right now in 7 schools, and we are opening in Milwaukee next year and have approvals to open in 5 additional states over the next 2 or 3 years. Our academic performance, this shows kind of overall and then versus low income and English language learners. What this slide doesn't have on it is our performance relative to high income school districts. That's actually the metric we use. So we look at how our students do versus the Palo Altos and Cupertinos, and every year we will have at least a couple schools that are performing above their high performing schools. And so when we talk about the achievement gap, we're not really talking about the averages, we're talking about the highest performing kids in the state and whether we can consistently outperform them. So 3 things that we think a lot about at Rocketship. 1, we just talked about, every kid deserves special attention. So the idea that you have a mass production school that kind of takes kids in 2nd grade and teaches them the things they need to learn in 2nd grade, and if they didn't happen to know the things that you needed to know to be in 2nd grade, tough luck. That's not the way we think about it. We think about Maya and Santiago and kids like that and take them where they're at and move them quickly to where they need to be. And again, that is something that you can't really do alone. So the second piece, getting parents involved. We're elementary schools, so we have the advantage that parents still like their children and children still like their parents, which you in secondary know is not always true later on. So we take advantage of that. We have a lot of parent focus, a lot of family focus, and we really use that as a motivator for families and kids. And then finally, you know, when I was a teacher, I taught for 3 years. I was just horrified at the way that you're worked with as a teacher. You're almost treated as a, I don't know, factory worker comes to mind, but somebody who's kind of there to do a job. As long as you do the set of things you're asked, you know, you're good. And that's not really the way we look at it. We think of teaching as kind of very much kind of a higher order, white collar profession in which you really have to hone your craft and get great at it. And you can't do that unless the environment is good to do that, where the norms are that you really want to be a great teacher, and then you have to have the support. So we have academic deans at every school that support our teachers, and that's really the third pillar. I know this is a technology group, so just very quickly, the way that things work in our learning lab, our individualized space, the most important thing is to understand where kids are at. So we know Common Core and other things tell us where we're trying to get to, but what we're really doing with our data management platform is trying to figure out where are they today, based on what they're doing online, based on assessments we give them paper and pencil, based on online assessments, where are they? And from that, in my opinion, a lot of things flow. Then which programs are the most appropriate programs for that student to be on next developmentally? If they're with a tutor, what's the most appropriate lesson for that tutor to be providing? And then providing information back out to tutors and teachers so that they can start to change what they're doing with those students. Very good example that I use is, you know, schools are a little bit like retail was before point of sale systems. You know, once a year we find out where we're at, we find out how it went, and then the next year we try to do something better. Whereas in retail, obviously, anybody that's good at retail is getting data every day on what's going on, what's selling, what's not selling, what are you getting out of stock on, et cetera, and you're optimizing. So as we begin to collect information on students every day, and it's used by teachers, and it's used by tutors, and it's used in our online learning systems, we think we're going to get into a very positive feedback loop in terms of what students learn, and then what they learn next, and how we measure that. A lot of people focus on kind of how our model works. This is the quick slide on that. So because students are in this learning lab for a period of the day, they're not with a teacher during that time, and so Rocketship has fewer teachers. We have 21 classes of students, and we have about 16 teachers. So that basically, the salary and classroom savings amount to about $500,000 a year, and I always say to other educators, if you had somebody writing you a $500,000 check per year for your school and they were saying make it better, you could probably figure out how to make your school better. And so we invest that in higher salaries for teachers, academic deans, a 3-year leadership development program for our school leaders, all the things that of course you would do to make your school better.
Cambiar vidas,
change lives,
change organizations,
change organizations,
दुनिया में बदलाव,
Change the world.